Once again, we will be distributing this. It'll be on our YouTube. It'll be easy to access. So thank you everyone for joining this webinar from on-premise to the cloud, the DSN blueprints. And Michelle, if you wouldn't mind just clicking to the next slide. So speaking today primarily will be Michelle, who is one of our software advisors and e-services specialists, and Lauren, who's one of our awesome DSN Cloud trainers. I'm going to be here to make sure just everything runs smoothly. If anyone has questions, feel free to send them in the chat, and we'll be sure to answer those as they come. Then also we have time at the end. Super excited about this session. It is specifically tailored to our on-premise DSN customers. So we think that everyone here will get a lot of value from it. Also worth noting, we do have Crystal on the call, who's one of our operations leaders at DSN in case we need her expertise. And once again, super excited to have you all here. So a quick agenda, then we'll jump right in. We'll talk about the key benefits of migrating to DSN Cloud. We'll show you DSN Cloud and specifically the main differences between DSN Cloud and on-premise. It's not going to be a full-on demo. Then Lauren will talk about the migration process and walk through a case study. And then lastly, like I said, we'll leave some room for Q&A. So Michelle, it's all yours. Take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Isaac. Thanks for that kind introduction. And thank you all for being here with us this evening. I'm so excited to explore the benefits of DSN Cloud with you. To fully understand the benefits of cloud, I first want to talk about the challenges that you guys might be facing with a server-based system. There are four main challenges we want to talk about: scalability issues. When your practice grows, you're expanding locations or users, that requires costly hardware upgrades and updates that result in downtime and lost production. So when you're growing your practice, you're going to continue to face increased costs for server maintenance, hardware upgrades, disaster recovery infrastructure. And these expenses, they compound over time and increase with practice growth, requiring constant investment in specialized IT. And the high IT costs, ongoing server maintenance, troubleshooting, upgrades, those strain our budgets, while backup and recovery adds to the costs as well. Outdated security. The manual updates for server-based software leaves the system vulnerable to threats and compliance risks. While outdated versions, though functional, they may lack essential safeguards and they can slow down operations, causing us frustrations in the office. The limited accessibility. This traditional software creates inefficiencies by limiting flexibility and cutting off remote access during power outages. And the recovery from those outages requires time, creating a backlogs of work, loss of access to vital medical records during those outages. Remote access systems, they often rely heavily on VPN and remote desktop connections that can become bottlenecked. And remote access has strict performance limits, and it becomes slower as you add users, and your team is essentially anchored to the office for those functions, with little flexibility to handle those emergency situations away from the practice. Those are some of the biggest challenges we see for our server-based clients. So, the good news is moving to DSN Cloud removes the limitations of traditional servers, saving you time, money, or resources that you're otherwise spent on building and maintaining infrastructure. So why migrate to DSN Cloud? Effortless scalability, adding users, locations, or services without additional IT investments and without interrupting your patient time. Future-proof your technology as your practice grows. And when your practice grows, DSN Cloud has a growth-ready infrastructure that adapts to your practice's evolving needs. Why migrate to DSN Cloud? Enhanced security. HIPAA and high-tech compliance, real-time encryption, automatic backups, malware and ransomware protection, and regular updates for data security. DSN Cloud eliminates local vulnerable storage data. DSN Cloud Security provides seamless protection through enterprise-grade infrastructure and continuous updates without so heavily depending on your local maintenance and local resources. Anytime, anywhere access, securely access practice data from any internet-enabled device, providing true practice mobility. This is ideal for multi-location practices and single offices that want more remote workflows. The other thing too is that with accessibility, there's consistent performance regardless the number of locations and the user count. Oh, I got ahead of myself there. Sorry, guys. The streamlined user experience, I got excited about that. This is really one of the things that I'm looking forward to showing you guys a brief demo, that it's a modern, intuitive interface for the end user, and it's going to reduce your training time and simplify your workflows. So it is the minimal learning curve for the end users, for everybody in the office. It's going to be a negligible workflow changes and an easy transition for everyone in the office. Another reason to migrate to DSN Cloud, automatic updates. DSN Cloud automatically updates to give you the latest and greatest DSN features. And one of the last reasons on this particular slide, why migrate to DSN Cloud, is the reduced IT burden. Local IT costs are lowered with a decreased need for frequent hardware updates. You're not having to buy and spend that money on those new servers every 3 to 5 years. And DSN Cloud is going to give your IT team one security system to view and manage across your entire organization. So when we talk about how easy it's going to be to transition to DSN Cloud, you might be thinking, well, so what's better about the cloud? One of the things that DSN Cloud has enhancements is improved reporting. I think DSN is unmatched in its capability of providing robust reports. These custom reports transform data into strategic decisions that drive our practice growth. And there's analytics for all time frames, all providers, all locations in real time. We've got what are called smart grid reports that you can then export to Excel spreadsheet. That way you can kind of dig in deeper for your operational analysis. Enhanced navigation. The enhanced navigation, DSN's more like an intuitive web-based navigation. We're all accustomed to having, 20 screens. We're all accustomed to navigating the internet. So it's going to be a very easy transition to train, to improve efficiency, to accelerate user adoption and productivity. Standardized protocols that ensure your high quality patient care at every office and real-time data synchronization across your entire network. And I'm super excited to talk about cloud imaging. DSN Cloud comes with cloud imaging. It is in phase development right now, but it is a secure cloud storage for all imaging data. The phased rollout features are full treatment planning tools with implant placement, nerve mapping, remote image access for providers, sharing, comprehensive annotation capabilities. There's a lot coming, and we're going to continue to build DSN Cloud with other enhancements as well. So when we're talking about DSN Cloud, like what all is included in DSN Cloud? You have a transparent monthly subscription based on your practice's needs. Unlimited storage, users, licenses are included. 24/7 access anywhere, anytime. E-scripts and e-services access for all providers. They're, along with our 6 other electronic service features. EMR is included for all providers. We have a full referral management solution, enhanced reporting, and a wide range of imaging and vitals integration. So those e-services, digital tools are ready to use from day one. I want to also highlight again your security and compliance and what DSN Cloud offers. We have a built-in HIPAA and high-tech compliance with automatic updates to meet regulatory standards. There's an advanced encryption. It secures your data at rest and in transit, which is going to protect your patient information. We've got a multi-factor authentication and a role-based access control, preventing unauthorized access. There's continuous monitoring, audit trails, real-time alerts that ensure accountability and quick threat responses. We're offering you reliable data backup and recovery on AWS cloud hosting for uninterrupted operations. So it's kind of a highlight of what DSN Cloud can bring your practice. Let's spend a few minutes kind of giving you a real demo. Give me just a second here. I'm going to switch over to DSN Cloud. Hopefully you can see my screen. You can see the schedule here. So basically what we have here is our DSN Cloud schedule. And when you're looking at this, I want you to understand that obviously you can have as many columns as you need. You can name those columns as you need to. Your appointments and types of services can be colored. You're going to customize that. You can also create a theme for each user. So the theme meaning, I'm ready for springtime. I don't know about you guys. I can have my screen look green time, springtime. So every user, this is user dependent. You want summer, you've got summer. You want to roll with a Metropolis Dark. So there's a theme that can be created for each user as they like to look at it. I'm going to take things back to the basic view for this demo. And one of the things about this, for you guys that are using our server-based system, you're accustomed to logging in and you're accustomed to your toolbar at the top of your screen. So this might look different. You're like, where's my toolbar? Your toolbar is now what we're going to call a menu bar, and it's here on the left-hand side of your screen. It's a menu bar. So one of the things here with the menu bar, as you're learning to navigate everything, you can hover over scheduling. Everything about your scheduling is there. Patients, you can open that up. Everything about your patients. The currency icons, everything about billing. The umbrella that's familiar to you guys, everything about patients, clinic, and referring doctors. But this might be a little confusing for you when you look at it first, but don't fret. Do not fret. I want to show you two things that I think will make the transition and learning where your screens live. We have a favorites bar here. So that star, a favorite star, we're all accustomed to using favorites, favorite contacts in our phone, favorite web pages that we visit, favorite apps. So this, when you open up the favorites, each user can put in the screens and the places they need to go depending on their role in the office. This is really incredible. And you can have more than one favorite. You can see here, I've got a favorite toolbar, favorite box of my screens, and I also have one for clinical. So if you're clinical, you're going to need access to that EMR, the EMR document management, which is really your unsigned documents, prescriptions, quick checkout attachments, integrated software. So having this favorites bar, you guys, that's going to make things so easy to access while you learn where everything is. Eventually, you'll learn all the places you need to go. And you may not want to use this favorites bar, but I think that you will. I think you're really going to like that favorites bar. The other thing too, in the middle of your learning, the top three lines here, we have a search bar. So as you're searching, you're like, I need to find claims. Where are claims? You type in claims, claims appears. Anything you type into that search bar, you need attachments. There you go, there's your attachments. So those two features I think are really critical to, hopefully easing any trepidation that you may have about learning how to navigate the software. So the menu bar on the left-hand side, you no longer have the toolbar at the top. We also want to visit our reporting. So if you can bring your attention to the lower left corner of my screen, we've got main, which we're in right now, and reporting. So I just want to show you that your reporting, you do have your favorites bar as well. So, you know, different users can create their own favorites to the reports that they run. I want to hop back and show you for those of you that use our EMR, I just want to show you how easy it is and how it looks the same. Really, the workflow is the same. Once you learn that menu bar and navigating, here's our EMR. When it opens up, basically it's pulling in the allergies, health alerts, medications. DSN, we do have our own online patient registration form that will populate this information for you. That should look all the same. You can close that down. This are, you know, phrases should look the same. If you're accustomed to using our EMR, there's really no changes here. Your assistants will be doing the consultations with history, limited exam. We've got review and finalize. This should all look very familiar to you here, where you can sign those notes. And again, if I need to go wherever I need to go, I can hop into that favorites star and open up attachments or whatever it is I'm needing to open for that patient. So hopefully that makes sense. You can see that toolbar navigation. I'm in my location, I'm in my patient's EMR, I'm in my patient's attachments. Um, so just wanted to show you that really the screens do look the same, the negligible workflow difference. For those of you in doing transactions, I can definitely hop into transactions. I'll go into my admin toolbar and show you transaction screen. It looks really the same. So here's our transactions. I've got my add, modify, treatment, view claims, screens that you should be accustomed to using and familiar, that it won't be any burden to learn how to navigate DSN Cloud. I do want to bounce back to the reporting and show you all the reports that we have. I think DSN Cloud, really, they've just got incredible reporting. So the list is here, right? But you do have that favorites that you can add the reports that you run the most, and you have that search bar for any report that you're looking for that you can't initially find. And it is very easy to favorites any report. Basically, that little star, you click and it will be added to that favorites bar. There is a new feature in DSN that I want to briefly touch on. It's called dashboard. Now, my data is not going to look anything like yours. I'm going to show you a screenshot soon of what a typical office, what that would represent. But what this dashboard is you can create 9 different widgets. We're going to call it widgets, views, graphs, anything that you want to assess and analyze in your office. Currently, we've got an appointments dashboard, scheduler at a glance dashboard, some treatment dashboards, and a custom dashboard. You can kind of create the views that you want. So we've got, again, timelines, and the types of services your practice will choose, the 5 types of services, top 5 services. All the other services will be pulled into the other category. But this is going to be a great feature for you. And one last report that I want to show is a smart grid referral. I mean, there's several smart grids. So when we get more into conversations with you, we can definitely show this in full length. But these smart grids, basically, you can run these, export them to an Excel spreadsheet, uh, and just create a file name of any kind. And this Excel spreadsheet is manipulatable. It's just like an Excel spreadsheet. That's really cool. Again, your data is going to look very, very, very different than mine. I think that's a good time to jump out. I do want to get back to my PowerPoint and show you guys what I mean by what your typical office might look like. So in this screenshot of our dashboard, This is more representative of what an actual office. There are 9 different widgets. You can arrange this if you like all vertical, elongated, 4 boxes, but you can see the data. You can choose the time frame. There's a drop down menu for that. And again, you're going to decide on your top 5 services. Everything else clumps into the other. But this is great, and those smart grids are great. You can pull reports, export them to an Excel spreadsheet, and then you can decide where your practice needs to go from there. That's a quick overview. I know that feels probably very rushed, but the idea is just to give you guys a little appetizer and show you what it looks like, assure you that the ease of transition will be easy. Speaking of transition, I'm going to turn it over to Lauren to talk about, when you do decide to move to DSN Cloud, what does that migration process look like? And Lauren is definitely more versed in that field, so I'm going to have her take over. And thank you
Perfect.
so much.
Hi, everybody. Hope everyone's having a good evening. I'm just going to talk about the conversion process with you. So typically an electronic conversion, the entire process can take 4 to 6 weeks. Some variables that might come into play are that the practice may have been on DSN for a really long time, or how large the practice is, also what resources are available during that time of conversion and migration. It is good to know that you guys have the option to manually convert your database as well. This process will give you guys an opportunity to clean up your database that you've been carrying out on with throughout the years, and give you kind of a fresh start while working with our teams to help guide you through that process. So in step 1, the initial setup and network evaluation, this step usually takes about 1 to 2 weeks. We will need all locations and workstations, and during that time, we'll run speed tests to ensure that internet speeds and everything are compatible with the cloud. During step 2, this will be your kickoff meeting with your practice project managers and to set up forms to get more information on integrations that you're currently using and how they'll be considered when using the cloud. Step 3 is going to be the data conversion and review. So this is kind of like a test conversion, and this could typically take 1 to 2 weeks. We bring over that initial data and we review it with the practice managers to make sure the data is correct before we run the final conversion. So step 4 then will bring you over to the final conversion, which this time usually takes a week. This is when the conversion team ensures all information is correct when that data is pulled over. Last but not least is your onboarding and training time frame, which usually during this time we ensure all integrations are working correctly. Training typically can take 1 to 2 days for smaller groups, 2 to 3 days for larger groups. And then once you get through your training time and go live day, then you'll be given support throughout the following weeks to just kind of tie up loose ends and questions that you might have post-training. Okay. And now I'm going to just talk about a case study that we just recently had with a client and just kind of walk through how this kind of basically the story of this practice that we just migrated. So the practice began the migration process the first week of December. That's when we ran all of our tests. In that second week, we then had the practice meet with their project managers. They kind of got all documents completed. And with the holiday, obviously, that kind of changes things. But the actual test conversion began the second week of January. And after the client reviewed that data, that gave our conversion team the green light to continue forward with the conversion process. And we completed the final test conversion the week before training and go live, which was scheduled for February 10th and 11th. During the training and go live, this practice had 2 bigger practices. Their training was a total of 1 day and their go live was a total of 1 day. There were 30 participants, and that included all office admin and the clinical teams for day 1 and 6 providers. The go live was split into 2 locations, so the trainer split the day between both locations to ensure staff was confident with the system. And the week following training and go live, the team was Also working with support, their project manager and their trainer to help review any issues that or any questions they had throughout that process. So all in all, it took about close to about 6 to 8 weeks.
Awesome. All right, well, that was perfectly executed timing there. Thank you so much, Lauren and Michelle. Now we will open it up to questions. So if anyone has questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Should be at the bottom of your Zoom screen. There are a few questions that came in already. Let me just pull them up. All right, so a quick one, Lauren. I know you spoke about the migration process, or I don't know, Lauren, if this is a question for you or Michelle, so either of you could take it.
Mhm.
But how long does it typically take an office to get fully like trained up on DSN Cloud after being on DSN on premise for a while? So not the migration process, but the training process.
The training depends on the size of the practice. Typically for smaller groups, it's 1 day of training, 1 day go live. For bigger groups, it's usually 2 days of training and possibly 1 to 2 days of go live, depending on which they opt for.
Got it. Cool. Thank you. Someone asked what the cost for converting is.
Yeah, I think that that's going to be so specific per location, Isaac, that if that customer can give us some contact information, we can contact them
Yep.
and review that. That's just going to be so different for every location, depending on, you know, their idiosyncrasies.
Got it. And then Michelle, just to clarify there, the cost of cloud is typically number of providers and number of locations, correct?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Okay.
Yes, sir. I
So
also want to touch back to the question that Lauren answered, is that we do have, you know, DSN Academy it's being built. It's being built. It's coming, where there are some training videos there for, you know, uh, when our trainers have left and they still, you know, have some questions or want to
got it.
review things.
Okay. Cool. All right. So some more questions came through. All right. Someone asked, what happens to the intervening data during the conversion process? If the process takes 6 weeks, that leaves 6 weeks of data that may not be converted over. How is that sort of intermediary data handled?
Typically, it depends on the practice as far as what data they're pulling over. So even though the process takes 4 weeks, typically up until the week of the actual final conversion, that's the only time frame any of that data actually matters, and that's determined about what they're pulling over. If they're doing a manual conversion, it doesn't really matter at all. But if they are going to be pulling things in, that's when we have a discussion with the practices as far as like, you know, what we're going to need to pull out and hold on to enter back into cloud when that time frame comes.
Awesome. Someone asked, how long has DSN Cloud been available? Do we know when it came out officially?
You know, I don't have an exact, and Crystal might have a better answer to that, but I feel like we've launched it, you know, it's been a slow launch, but a year and a half,
Been 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
Awesome. So let's mark those answered. Someone asked, I heard that DSN Cloud is the possibility of online scheduling. Is that true?
A possibility of what?
Online scheduling.
That is coming to patient portal within the cloud. It's
Awesome.
not available currently.
Got it. And then that person also asks about AI scheduling. I know that is something we are working on as well.
That is correct.
All right. Someone asked what happens to our existing server. I think the answer to that truly is it depends. A lot of clients come to DSN Cloud when their server is end of life, and they don't want to spend the money on a new one. But Michelle, Crystal, I don't know if either of you have a better answer for what happens to our existing server. I think it really depends.
That's a conversation certainly with, your IT department. It really just depends on, what you want to keep on that server. You want to store your local images on that server. So that server that you have, that would be a conversation between you and your IT team, and certainly us and our IT team to kind of help you navigate that decision of what data is being held on it. And but you'd probably keep that server for sure.
Got it.
And that depends. If it's end of life server, then there's too many variables for that. But we're happy to have a more in-depth discussion for sure. Welcome that.
Yep, absolutely makes sense. Someone asked how DSN Cloud can work with ICAT and Dexys.
We do have imaging integrations the same way we have now in your software. We definitely have integrations for all of your imaging that's in the clinic and
Got it. So it works the same way.
Mhm.
It works the same way, but we also have that enhancement if you use DSN Cloud imaging, where you can see images at other locations regardless of the acquisition brand or title of that X-ray. So for example, if you have Dexys installed at one location but not another, through DSN Cloud imaging, you're able to view the image. So that's the difference, but the local integrations have remained the same.
Awesome. Thank you. Someone asked, can you split windows to view on multiple monitors?
Sure. Can you
Yes.
split the window? Yes, sure. Absolutely.
All right, that was an easy one. Will there be a way to make online payments in DSN at some point?
Yes, that will be offered through Patient Portal. Patient Portal is in development for deployment in 2025.
Awesome. Someone asked, is there an end of life expected for DSN on premise?
Not to my
Not at
knowledge.
this time.
Yeah. Not at this time. I think, I guess just, yeah, not at this time. Someone asked, is there a way to customize the toolbars to have a single click favorites bar rather than a 2-click favorites menu?
2-click. I can look into that
Okay.
since I'm sharing my, yeah, I can
That's a
look into
tough
that.
one.
Right now, you click on the star and then you click on your screen. So right now it is 2 clicks. But I'll double check
You
that.
can leave your favorites menu open, so it's always
Sure.
open on the left-hand side. Then you would
Right.
just click the one item to avoid the double clicking of the star and then the item. You can leave your favorites up at the top on that side left menu bar.
That's true. You can leave that whole favorite bar open. Thank you, Crystal.
Awesome. All right, someone asked Romexis imaging. I think we answered that. Anything you're already using imaging wise, we can still work with. Another person asked, how can we find out what the cost of transitioning to the cloud is? That would just take a conversation with us. So I would just reach out through our website, the demo request page specifically, and we'll get you in touch with someone who can help answer that based on your unique situation. Another person asked about a specific timetable for online scheduling. Crystal, I think you said 2025, so before the end of this year, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, perfect. All right, I'll try to go through these fast. Payment from customers, Crystal, I think you said that as well, 2025.
Yeah, that could be interpreted one of two ways. So payments from customers could be from the patient portal, Or in addition, if you're currently integrating to Heartland, so when the patient's in making a payment and you have that H on your screen on the transaction window, we still have the integration directed through Heartland if that's the service provider you use for credit processing. Again, if you're talking about online, that's coming in the patient portal in 2025.
Thank you. Will DSN continue to support server-based? Yes, we will. Someone asked, any plans for mobile app to access data and call list?
Yes.
Awesome. Someone's asking how training is different for DSN Cloud. And I think the short answer is, as Michelle was referencing, we're building out a DSN training academy that's going to be all online. That's certainly one thing. I also know we continue to invest in our on-site training. And that's a really big point of emphasis for us.
Yeah, I don't think training, Lauren, I don't think that would be any different. I mean, it's really if they want, when they transition, do they want on-site training? How many days? It depends on office size and locations, just like Lauren was explaining with that one case. But we definitely want to provide you as much training as you need. We want everyone to feel comfortable and proficient to, using the software.
And typically the conversion training is really just getting you acclimated to the new software. Anything more would be more review style training. So I would say that would be more along the lines of if you wanted longer trainings, it would be or more days added, it would be more in-depth training. But the conversion training itself is pretty high level. It just walks you through the differences between the desktop to the cloud.
Got it. Someone asked about DSN in Weave and if we'll continue to integrate with Weave.
What was that question?
We will. It was integration to Weave.
Oh, yes.
We will
Okay.
continue that integration.
Awesome. Someone's asking to describe DSN imaging a bit more. Is it included with DSN Cloud? What changes would I potentially need to make?
It is included in DSN Cloud. And I would like a little more information about what changes they would need to make. So DSN Cloud imaging, it's basically all of your images can be stored in the cloud, accessible through any internet enabled device. Currently, the CT scans load the way that we're all accustomed to, trained on CT scans and equipment for years. You've got different views, axial, coronal, sagittal. You can do pathology runs, you can annotate. We are rolling out phases of, more treatment plan tools, implant library, nerve canal tracing, segmentations. But I'm not quite sure. I need more on that question. What would you need to change? Really nothing. If you're using CT or imaging equipment, two-dimensional images as well, Panorexes, PAs, photos also can be stored, saved, viewed, shared from DSN imaging.
Awesome. Someone asked how easy it is to get a copy of their data from DSN.
I think this one's a little bit of a broad question. So it kind of depends on specifically what they're looking for. In regards to getting or accessing their data, if we're talking about for an electronic conversion, we do a test conversion to see how long it pulls before we do a final pull to the cloud. If you're talking about access to your existing data, are you talking about for a data lake? For reporting purposes. So we would need a little bit more information about that question, but we're happy to help facilitate what we are trying to achieve if you just reach out to DSN support.
So I know we're sort of running out of time. Or someone asked, are electronic patient statements available?
They are currently not available. However, again, we're referencing the patient portal. That's a part of the patient portal for electronic statements through the patient portal. So it's very similar, just for reference for mine purposes. If you've ever used a MyChart before, it's similar to that. Our software, it's called Dent Chart. That's what will be released for cloud only in 2025.
Awesome. Another imaging question. Will 2D equipment get saved to the imaging software and then integrated to DSN imaging? Or can I take images directly into DSN imaging?
It is still taken from your local acquisition computer and stored to the cloud.
Awesome. Someone asked once again about price and just asking for clarification around price with DSN Cloud. I don't know, Michelle, if that's something you have.
Yeah, I just think that's going to just depend on the office location, sizes. I would have them contact us and we're happy to have a conversation about that. But this is a monthly subscription, with that all-inclusive kind of platform.
Got it. Yeah, and once again, for any price questions, we're happy to have a personalized call and get you a specific answer to that. All right, let's do a couple more. Someone asked, are you working on insurance verification that syncs with DSN? And if yes, is that for the cloud as well as on-premise?
So currently we have an integration for dental exchange that is a part of our built out for eligibility. I would need additional clarification if there's an extended question on that. And for V30, that will be an update for V30 that you'll also be able to access eligibility through V30 as well, through dental exchange, if you signed up for that, of course.
Awesome. All right, someone asked, can you view multiple windows at once? Right now, I can open history. I believe they're saying I can't open history and transactions side by side.
In the cloud, you can have them side by side,
Awesome.
but it'll stay on the same patient just like it does V30. And once you click on another screen, it will switch to whatever patient you had last selected, but you can have side by side window.
Awesome. Last question. So someone asked for the e-services package, patient paperwork, doesn't allow customization. Is that something that we can do now?
Not at this time.
Okay, that is good feedback. All right, the last thing, and then we'll end this. Someone asked, my server is less than a year old. I think truthfully, whether or not you move to the cloud is going to be pretty personal for everyone. Some people just got a server, they have one location, everything's working great. And it's best not to rock the boat. So I would just say, if you have personal questions, reach out to us and we can give you a personal answer. Shoot, I got one last question that literally just came through. Someone is asking about following up on the previous questions. We used to be able to check eligibility and we no longer can after the breach. Will we be able to after the next update?
That is correct.
Perfect. All right, with that, we will end this. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. Michelle, Lauren, Crystal, thank you so much for all your help and for putting this on. Once again, any questions, comments, feel free to reach out to info@dsn.com or just reach out through our website. We will send around this recording, so don't worry if you missed anything. And we'll certainly be in touch.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Yes. Yeah, thank you everyone for taking the time to join us this evening. Really appreciate it.
Bye, everyone.